Hmm? I'm alive? All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first Self-Love Book Tour. Self-Love, a gift you give yourself. Welcome to the book tour. Welcome to the virtual book tour. We had planned to have a live book tour where we were going to tour about 5 or 6 different states in March, and it was scheduled to begin the third week in March. Well, we all know what happened, and so as we certainly know, we still have to continue to be all who Abba God told us to be. We still have to figure out a way to show up, figure out a way to do what it is that we are called to do. And so here we are. We're doing a virtual book tour, and as a result, we're doing it locally. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds. So I am Dr. Catherine E. James, your host and the author. I carry many, many hats. But for this particular conversation, I'll use the title of author and transformational coach. The purposes of this book tour is to share about self-love, a gift that you give yourself. Tonight, as I said, is the beginning. It's the commencement of the book tour. We will post later and tell you where you can get the additional dates, and maybe we'll be able to post them before we're done here tonight. But tonight starts the book tour, and then we will have conversations with different individuals up until next Thursday. We will go every day at different times until next Thursday. Let's see. It's designed to have a conversation where with those who have read the book or those who will read the book before their date arises. So just to let you know how we're doing this. So tonight we're going to have Joy Creel, who's going to join us. And once she's on, we will tell you the specific reasons as to why she's the first guest. And then we will have other guests. And the stipulations or the requirements for being a guest during this conversation is simply that you've read the book or that you will read the book before your date arises. Now, it doesn't matter to me if you like the book or if you don't like the book. I simply want to have a conversation around the book, Self-Love, a gift you give yourself, of which I am the author. I'm also going to invite you to stay tuned because we will journey together during this week, having a cursory view at self-love, having an authentic conversation about this precious, precious gift that we can give into ourselves. And then later on, I'll tell you about how we can dive deeper, how we'll have an opportunity to journey together where we take a deeper dive into self-love. So I want to start off by thanking everyone who will sign in, who will join us. And we appreciate your participation. And now we'll get started with our conversation with Joy Creel.
Hello, friend. I'm here.
Yeah, it's some because on my end I don't see anything. I don't see you. That's why I was. So as we work out technical difficulties, we want to let you know that you can go to drcatherineejames.com and you're able to get your books from there. And if you go there and get your books, you'll have to sign an autographed copy. If you get them from Amazon, you can get them from the author house, the publishing house, author house. You can get them from there. But we certainly invite you to get them through drcatherineejames.com. All right. So, do you know what's happening? Because I don't see you. You see me, right?
I can see you. Yes, I can definitely see you.
Okay. Am I going to be able to see you or see? No?
I don't know.
So we don't know what's happening. So normally what happens is when we do this, I'm able to see all the guests and I'm able to see comments and everything. So right now I can't. So we will just go on there with the interview. and see what is going on, okay? See what's happening here. All right. All right, all right, all right. All right. Well, it's part of technology. It's part of what happens when we deal with technology. We may, all right, there we go. I can see me now. I just need to click add to the stream. All right, thank you, Joy. Thank you, Joy. And how about seeing you? What do I need to see you?
Can you see me now?
Nope, I only see me. So when we come on tomorrow, we'll have to work out.
I'm not sure. Maybe
Not sure
maybe
what that
refresh your screen.
Okay. Try to enter back into the studio. And the screen. Okay. Nope. Not sure. But we'll go from here. We will go from here. So let's then just welcome Joy Creel to the broadcast. And so if we look a little funny, it's because technology is acting a little different, but we will go on. So Joy, I'd like to welcome you in being the first guest on the book tour. The self-love, a gift you give yourself on the book tour. Let me show it to you without all my little papers and everything like that. Self-love, we're welcoming Joy Creel, almost Dr. Joy Creel. In just a short while, we'll be calling her Dr. Joy Creel. So, Dr. Creel, I'm just going to take some liberties here. Welcome to our book tour for self-love, a gift you give yourself.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having me. So on my screen, I definitely can see both of us, and I also got some comments that they can see both of us. So I think we're good. If you can just go with seeing me, we have the side by side. So we are all set. We are all set.
All right. All right.
There's
I'll just have to go with it.
Yep, and a couple of comments. Felisa Ford says, hello, Dr. James and Dr. Creel. So even if you can't see the comments, I can shout those out to you if necessary.
Yes, let's do that. I definitely wanted to engage the comments tonight. So let's make sure we're able to do that. All right, let's get started then. Let's get started. Let me pull my notes, pull myself together here, and let's make it happen. So let's start off by talking about why I wrote the book. For many of my years, I have been very comfortable and familiar with the notion of self-love. I didn't have the terminology for it, but from the very beginning, almost as far as I can remember, I was okay with me. I knew I had stuff, which we all still have stuff, but I was okay with the person who I was. And I often would have conversations with people, and that wasn't their reality. And time after time after time after time, I would have conversations with individuals who really, really struggled with being okay with their stuff, being okay with their good, bad, and ugly, or however we would have it. And so what happened is at one point, God said to me, Kathy, I need you to write the book. I need you to write a book. He gave me the titles, he gave me the chapters, and he said, I need you to write this book. And his thing was, because although you talk to a lot of people and people are blessed by the conversations you have about being okay with you, about owning your own stuff, taking care of what you needed to take care of, do what you need to do. People are okay with those kinds of things, but they need to be able, they're individuals who you will never see, who will never come in contact with you, who you would never be engaged, who need the same message. So I need you, and these are the words he said to me, I need you to discipline yourself and write the book so that those individuals who will never know a Catherine James in person can get what it is that I put in you naturally, so they can get it through a book. So they get it through a book. All right. So that is the reason, beloved, why the book was written. So Joy. So the reason Joy Creel is the first guest. The book was released in October of 2016. The book was released in October. And when it was on Amazon, when I discovered it was on Amazon, we were at work. And I had taught that night and Joy was working late. And so I ran to the back to tell Joy, oh my God, I was so excited, super excited to see my book was on Amazon.com. So yes, I was excited. So I ran back, Joy was there. I ran back to tell her that it was on Amazon. And so I left and came back. And when I came back into the office, Joy had already purchased the book. So as far as I'm aware, Joy is the first person who purchased my book. Joy, do you remember the night, Joy?
I do.
I absolutely remember the night. I think what I remember most about the evening was the shriek, the scream, because I didn't know exactly what had happened. And I was like, what's happening? So I definitely remember the scream, trying to figure out, is everything okay? Do we need to do something different? What? And, the excitement, the sheer excitement of you having discovered the book. So, discovered that the book was online for online purchase. So, yes, I do remember the evening and I remember it well.
Wonderful. So I want to thank you for purchasing the book, for being the first person. I think you also was the first person to place a comment there. So I want to thank you for doing that. And I want to thank you for being my first guest on my first of many book tours. We call things as though they are, right?
Absolutely. You are more than welcome, and I wouldn't have it any other way, obviously. So, yes, you are more than welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, self-love is an introspective journey. It's a deep dive into self-understanding. I'd like to let people know that this kind of journey can be both scary and risky. It can be both scary and risky as we began to dive really, really deep into us, into ourselves. So Joy, what are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts in general about an introspective journey being scary and risky? And what are your thoughts from the reflection of the book?
My thoughts that introspective journey can be risky is simply that I just believe that that's a true statement. I believe that anything that we do comes with risk, and that's on either side of the coin, right? So counting up the cost, I think that it is necessary to be introspective. I think it is necessary to have self-awareness. I think it is necessary to do all of those things, but I also think that it's necessary for you to count up the cost, because it costs us to be introspective. It costs us to go within. It costs us to be able to look at ourselves and ask those hard questions. And especially when they're questions like, do I really love myself?
Yeah.
Do I really love myself?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you think about it from the book's perspective, when you think about the book and the idea of it being risk, do you have any ideas that come with you specifically from the perspective of the book?
Well, specifically from the book, I do find that one of the things that you have to be ready for when you read this book is you have to be ready to take that journey, right? So yes, from the book perspective, it's just as risky. I mean, reading this book is going to cost you, because once you read the book, you have the material and you're accountable for what you have. So the power that is packed within it is going to definitely make you look at yourself, look at your situation, look at your relationships, and all of those kinds of things. So even from the book perspective, it's risky just in that you have to be ready. You just have to be ready to take the next step. And so I don't take it lightly, or don't say it lightly when I say, be careful what you ask for. Mm-hmm. Do you want to have more self-awareness? Be careful, what you ask for. So yes, absolutely. I think there is a risk on both ends.
Yeah, thank you for that, Joy. There are a couple of things that comes to mind. One, there's a statement, a quote, and I don't remember exactly, but it basically says, once we have information, we can't ever unlearn it. We've got that information that has changed us, that stretched us. And so once we are stretched out of our old way of being, even if we try to go back, we can never go exactly back there. And so that's part of the risk. And it's part of what's scary, because when we begin to dive deep, to take deep dives into who we are, why we are, what we are, and it takes those kinds of questions to be engaged in order to grow in self-love. Once we start to do that, we can never go back. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. We can never go back. You got to be ready, at least to take some baby steps to becoming someone different. So I do like to warn people in that sense. The other side of the coin, Joy, is the idea that you really, once you get so far, you would never want to go back.
Absolutely.
The blessings and the richness and the freedom and the liberty and the power, the empowerment that you get from discovering your authentic and true self, from increasing ways of loving yourself and embracing yourself, of being okay with your stuff and being willing to celebrate your triumphs. All of that comes in the package of increased self-love. So although it's scary and risky, I like to give that caveat, it is a reward, a rich, rich, rich reward that is worth pressing past the risk and the scare. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like you said, once there's a level of knowledge, no matter, what it costs or whatever the case is, you don't want to go back. I tell people often there is a cost to having insight. Yeah. And the cost of having insight is that you have to look at things from a different perspective. You have to weigh them. And sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes you want to be in a space. Sometimes you want to just, I mean that very, I don't know. I just mean that seriously. Like sometimes you want to be in a space. Sometimes you want to be mad. Sometimes whatever the case is. But when you have that level of insight, the issue with that is now I have a perspective. Oh, I know this may have happened because, or, maybe perhaps I need to look at it from another light or whatever the case is. And so when that happens, perhaps it was me. What? So now I find myself in this space where now I have to ask those questions. Do I really want to know? But like you said, once you know, there's no way that I can go back to the other way. There's no way I can go back to, the book self-love. There's no way that I can go back to pre having this insight or whatever the case may be. And I know that there are probably some people in our listening audience now who probably can relate to that, in some ways where, you've had the opportunity to have some insight on some things, some insight on perspective. And like I said, maybe you just wanted to be upset. Maybe you just wanted to be mad. Maybe you just wanted to be able to be human like everybody else is mad, or you didn't want to have to be the bigger person or whatever the case is. But then when you have this insight and perspective, now you have to do something different. I really would love to see in the comments if somebody can relate to, that whole idea, like, man, I absolutely know that everything about going inside and having this level of insight is huge. But I wouldn't want to turn back. Not at this point.
I couldn't imagine a life where I didn't love me. And I know that that's a reality for lots of people. Mm-hmm. And it does sadden me. It saddens me because I know the beauty and the amazing liberty and joy that comes from self-acceptance, that comes from knowing that we got stuff, knowing that we will always need the cross, knowing that we would always have something to work on. But even while I'm working on it, I'm good. I accept me right where I am while I work towards the better of it all. And so if you haven't had the chance to get the book, go to drkatherinejames.com and you're able to get to purchase an autographed copy of your book. If not, go straight to Amazon and get a copy, or go straight to Author House and the publisher of the book, and you're able to get the book. Now, if you would like to be one of the panelists, one of our guests, just like Joy is the guest tonight, and she's the engineer, and she's the co-host, and just like she is. However, if you would like to be one of our guests, because you've read Self-Love, or you will read it. It's not a long read, and it's an easy read. If you'd like to be, then make sure that you email me at drcatherineejames@gmail.com. Email me at drcatherineejames@gmail.com. All right, so let's continue on, Joy, and let's see what else I have for you here. What led you to read the book?
So obviously, you want to support the people you care about and all of that. So, getting the book was a no-brainer and all of that. And honestly, at the time, when it was happening in 2016, I'm in my doctorate program. Like, I don't need another book to read at all. And so, doing it for support. Well, also at that time, I was getting ready to test for my national counselor exam. So, the reason that I got the book obviously was to support. However, what I got out of the book goes well beyond that. And it is such a, I'm so glad that it wasn't one of those things where you buy a book and put it on the shelf because you bring it. Right. But I'm so glad that I actually, I actually took time to read it. And, my book has got somewhere. So this is right. This is the closed version of my book. I've definitely turned these pages time and time again.
Thank you for being the first person to purchase the book. And let me say, viewing audience, if your friend writes a book, just buy it just to support them. Even if the book is going to go on the shelf. But buy it, give it away, or something like that. We got to support each other. So whether it's a book, whether they make T-shirts, whatever it is that we do, let's make sure that we support one another. And so, Joy, I appreciate your support. But I'm even more glad that it was beneficial.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. All right, let's see. What's the next question I hear? What are your top 3 aha moments from the book?
Ooh, top 3. Okay, so let me talk about the big one.
Okay, let's go with the big one.
So, as I said, so I'm a therapist, licensed professional counselor in the state of Michigan. At the time, I was limited license, and you have to take the national exam. And one of the things that we have to do as counselors, take this 200-question 4-hour exam to get our full license.
Right.
And so, anyone who knows me knows that I kind of suffer from a slight bit of perfectionism. And so in a school setting, that means that I have test anxiety, right? Because it's like, I feel like I got to get every question right. I don't have to just pass the test. I got to get every question right. And so it causes great anxiety. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things, so the night before the exam, Dr. James's book came, and I was like, I'm not reading anything else on this exam. I had studied for weeks on end coming up to the exam. And so when I read the book, there was a portion in the book talking about this whole idea of accepting who you are and making sure that you understand that there is absolutely nothing outside of God, basically, that defines you. Mm-hmm. And it was in that moment that I found myself relieved of test anxiety. Instantaneously, I knew that it's cool. Like this test doesn't define me. It doesn't say anything about me. Like, I'm the type of person. So I'm also, fun fact, I'm also a licensed nail tech in the state of Michigan and the state of Mississippi. But when I took my state boards for cosmetology, I cried through the test. That, my friend, is how bad my test anxiety is. Like, I'm literally polishing nails and crying because for whatever reason, not so much that I didn't have the knowledge, not so much that I didn't have the know-how, but I mean, I can tell you the number of tests that while I'm taking the exam, I may be, writing down answers or whatever the case is, but whatever was on the inside of me that said, you have to get it all right. What if you don't pass? What if whatever the case is? What does this say about you? How does this define you? How do you add, how does that define your value?
Yeah.
And when I read this book, I was like, oh, wait, nothing defines my value? Oh, okay. But Christ, right? And so in that moment, it was an instantaneous break. It was an instantaneous break of a stronghold that literally, at this point, I'm working on a doctorate. So I had dealt with my entire life of education I had dealt with. And I walked into the exam a couple of days later. I think it was the day, that might've been 2 days before the exam, but a couple of days later, I walked into the exam like, I'm going to do it. I know what I know. It is what it is. It doesn't define me. It doesn't say anything about me. It doesn't take my license away, whatever the case is. And what happens if you do fail? Right. What does it mean if you do fail? Right. And so, so that piece for me was a humongous takeaway. And there are so many more, but that's like the big one. And I didn't know how long I was going to talk about. I don't know if I have more time, but we'll start with that one in my mind.
Okay, wonderful. I will follow up with that one and give you a couple more minutes for some more. But that is a great example. And if I ever do video testimonies, we definitely got to get that one on the video or written down somewhere. But I am so grateful. It's amazing, beloved, that when we walk our calling and purpose, that other people will be blessed simply because we showed up. When we do what it is that God has called us to do, the earth will thank us. The earth will reciprocate in appreciation that you showed up. Let me just say this to you, beloved, just like Joy talked about in the message and the epiphany she got, our value has nothing, absolutely nothing, NOTHING, I used to be a cheerleader, has nothing to do with our value. What we do, our performance, has nothing to do with our value. You, because you are a human being on the earth, you have inherent worth. You are tremendously valuable. You're fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God, in his likeness, and you have value so much that it sent him to the cross so that we might have life through him. So if we struggle with self-worth, if we struggle with accepting ourselves, if we struggle with loving ourselves, I want to challenge the view of you. I want to challenge whatever view that you have that perhaps you've gotten it from someone else. Perhaps you've gotten it from what you say to yourself. Perhaps you've gotten it from what others say to you. Let me just say that it's a lie. It's a lie. Absolutely. And if you think it's because of what you've done, it doesn't take away from your worth. Now we have consequences. Absolutely. Right, Joy. And so we have consequences to everything that we do. But your worth, it's settled. It's settled. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, you were priceless. There's no price. There is no price that can be paid for you or I, because we are just that valuable. And if you don't believe it right now, it's okay. Take this as a call, as a clarion call, as an action call, that now is the time for you to walk your way into believing it. Because now you can begin to sit in the mirror, to stand in the mirror, and to begin to give yourself affirmations, to say what Jesus said about you, what the word of God says about you. Say what I'm saying about you. You are an unrepeatable, remarkable miracle with your own special brand of brilliance. You are an unrepeatable. There's not another one of you. Remarkable. You are amazing, right? Miracle. It was you come from God's imagination. We are a product of God's imagination. And you have your own special brand. Can't nobody do you like you. No one can do what you've been put on this earth to do. You have your own special brand of brilliance. This is the stuff of self-love. This is the stuff of self-love. Thank you, Joy. Thank you for that. Do you have another aha moment for us?
I do have another aha moment, but before we get to the aha moment, just want to acknowledge the people in the comments.
Right.
Tamika Bowles says, amen, no turning back.
Amen.
Monique Rains Wynn said, I just went to Amazon to purchase the book.
Monique.
I'm so proud of all your accomplishments. I will definitely give you feedback. Love you, sis.
Thank you, TSU sister.
Sedona says, I have to get a copy. That's good. I love the testimony. And Nyria says, special brand. I love it, Dr. James. So definitely have like the comments are exploding.
Amen. Amen.
There was also one more that I can't, for whatever reason, see on our screen, but I can see it playing on the back end here, and it says, this is really making me miss Bible school. Your class was life. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, Dr. James, and that's from Cecilia Thomas.
Hi, Cecilia.
And she also said, very true. It reminds me of the scripture that says, ever learning, never coming to the knowledge of truth.
Yes.
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power.
Yes, amen. Hey, Ree. Hey, everybody. It's wonderful to have you guys on and have you guys journey with us. And again, so your aha moment during.
So another aha moment that I got from the book was never be in a position to talk bad about yourself.
Yeah.
Talk bad about yourself. So there's a portion in the book where Dr. James talks about this whole idea of loving yourself and loving yourself well. And so whatever you do, like what you don't do is talk negative, like you don't sow the seed of discord. And if I can go off just a little bit, not just from the book, but just kind of putting that into a real life thing, our words literally are seeds. Like that scripture is no joke that says, speak those things that be not as though they are, because the things that proceed out of your mouth are the things that take root. And like, why go through this whole thing of where you got to renunciate something or get rid of something? No, just watch your mouth, watch what you say, and literally watch what you say about you. Yeah. It is so important that everything that comes out of your mouth about you is life-giving. It's life-giving. So post this, the self-love book and all of that, I wrote my dissertation, and the whole dissertation is on this whole notion of self-care. And one of the things that I get from that is that everything about you is the most important priority in your life. Mm-hmm. Period and point blank. I don't care if you got kids. I don't care if you're married. I don't care. 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 She don't care, y'all. She don't care. No, ma'am, I do not care. But you are the most important thing in your life. And let me say this, because I know that's hard for some people to hear. And so when we think about this idea of self-love, again, aha moments from the book, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't prioritize yourself, if you're talking bad about yourself, you won't be available to help those and to care for those that you take responsibility for. Yeah. Yeah. You have got to live the life where we're putting the mask on ourselves and taking the breath. Not just putting the mask on ourselves and saying, okay, I got my mask, let's go and do something. No, we put the mask on ourselves and then we take a breath.
Yes, absolutely.
We put the mask on ourselves and we breathe. Because if we don't have the breath to move us out, and that's the part about self-love that is so important. If we don't do that for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Again, I don't care what else is involved. You can't care for other people else. You're not careful. So you are literally your number one priority. And until we get that, and that does not mean that we're going to care for other people.
Right.
That does not mean that there aren't those that we have to take responsibility for. That's not what that means.
Correct.
But if I'm doing it in my own strength, with the absence of self-love, then at some point that breaks. At some point that breaks. And there's a portion in Dr. James, I don't know if this is my second, third, fourth, or fifth aha moment, but there's another portion in the book that literally just talks about this notion that self-love is not selfish.
It's not selfish. Period.
Self-love is not selfish. Self-love is caring for yourself. It's important, necessary, rather, and it has to happen in order for community to thrive.
Yeah.
You owe it to other people to take care of you.
Say that again.
You owe it to other people to take care of you.
Amen. Amen. That's a powerful statement. If you guys, one more time, Joy, say that one more time.
You owe it to other people to take care of you. That was just out of my spirit.
I felt it.
But that was great. Like, here we always talk about, oh my God, I have to do this for somebody else. Or I have to, there are so many things that I have to do. There are so many people that I have to do things for. You always, it's your responsibility to take care of yourself for those people. It's your responsibility to take care of yourself because there are people who would depend on you.
That's right.
It is irresponsible. It is neglect. It is negligent. And it's wrong. I would venture to say, but I mean, this whole holiness or hell.
Irresponsible. something wrong. It's just wrong.
I would venture to say it's a sin to not take care of yourself, but I ain't gonna go that far. But I venture to say it's a sin to not take care of yourself. I ain't gonna go that far because I don't got no scripture to support it. But what I'm gonna say is,
beloved, I wish above all that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers.
Well, then
take care of all of you. 3 John 2. 3 John 2.
3 John. But that's the piece, right? That is the absolute piece that we owe it. Not only do we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to the world.
Yeah.
We owe it to the universe to take care of ourselves. Forget all that. We owe it to God to take care of ourselves. And what I mean by that, if we're a figment of God's imagination, before I knew you, I formed you in your mother's womb. So that means you thought about me before we knew the world, before the world was formed, all of those kinds of things, all of that, right? So I owe God to take care of me. And whoever gets upset because I'm taking care of me, sorry, friend, or not sorry, not sorry. But here's the thing, because again, if I have to do something that chooses me, if whatever it is, I choose me.
Yes.
Because if I don't choose me, the ramifications of that is too much to bear.
Yeah.
It costs too much to not choose myself.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Joy. Thank you. No problem. No problem. That was good. It's our responsibility. It's not a message that we heard a lot. Particularly women, because women have to be mothers and wives, and we're very supportive. And the reality of it is in most churches, certainly in African American churches, most of the individuals there are women. And so then we have lots and lots of roles within our churches as well. And so we haven't been told that you come first, right? We haven't been told that. We've been told that children come first, husbands come first, so on and so forth. I think part of it has to do with the whole patriarchal reality, and that's a whole nother conversation. But the thing is this: 3 John does say, "Beloved, I wish above all that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prosper." It doesn't say, "Beloved, I wish above all that you would make sure that everybody else is taken care of and then you." It doesn't say that at all. It says, "I wish you," because this is the thing: when we increase in self-love, then everybody benefits. Everybody benefits. When we suffer and struggle with self-love, everybody get the repercussions of that. So however we are, folk benefit. So take care of yourself. Does not mean be selfish, though. Let me read. First of all, let me read to you the definition. Well, tell you the definition of self-love. Is it accepting? So now I know about her, but okay, here we go. Self-love is an accepting, valuing, and embracing of one entire self, right? One entire self, inclusive of an activating awareness that motivates toward the need to continually change for the better. It's an accepting, embracing, oh, how come I can't get it? Let me just read it. An accepting, valuing, and embracing of one's entire self. So hear that. You accept yourself, you value yourself, and you embrace all of you. I always say the good, bad, and the ugly. You embrace it all. The good you celebrate, the bad you give it to the cross, and the ugly you get rid of it. Get rid of the last two. Celebrate and maximize the first. So accepting, valuing, and embracing of your entire self. And that is inclusive of an activating awareness. Why did I put that? It includes this activating awareness that motivates toward the need to continually change for the better. Because even though we accept and we embrace and we value our entire self, when we do that, what we know is we've got purpose and destiny right in front of us. So we need to keep moving towards our better. So I accept me right where I am right now. I'm good. I'm good. I'm wonderful and fearfully made. And I'm all that in a bag of chips. And I am an unrepeatable, remarkable miracle with my own special brand of brilliance. I'm all of that right now. But you know what? And you're all that too. You're all that too. We are. And as long as there's breath in our body, there's more. As long as we're alive on the earth, there's another better. There's the opportunity to better our best. So just because we've arrived at this place, this is just the place in time right now. But beloved, there's something better. There's something more. Because the more that we get, the more that we know, the more that we go deeper, and the more that we know God better, there's more to us. And someone is waiting on our better. Someone is. Someone is waiting on you to read that next book. Someone is waiting for you to pick that next knee. Someone is waiting on you to listen to that next lesson. Hey, someone is waiting on you to take this 7-week deep dive self-love course that starts on June 16th.
Yes, sir.
How about that? Someone's waiting on you to take that course so that you can take a deep dive. So that this, what we're going to do for the next week, we're just going to wet your whistle. We're just going to invite you to the journey of self-love. But if you know that that we did this for you, if you know that it's time for you to dive deep into a place of loving yourself well, of discovering, of exploring, discovering, accepting, of celebrating, of honoring, of forgiving yourself, if you know that's you, then I need you to go to tomorrow. I need you to go there tomorrow to drkatherinejames.com and look and consider enrolling in the self-love. It's a 7-week deep dive into this subject. Amen. I feel like I preached.
You did preach. You did preach. And I'd like to come on the tail end of the sermon like good Baptist folks do, right? You said someone is waiting. And so that's the thing that we talked about, right? We talked about this whole idea of self-love, being in love with yourself responsibly. And again, like I said, I made sure I wanted to say, like, it does not mean that we're void of caring for others. It does not mean that we're void of having other priorities. That is not what that means at all. And it's important, again, for us to understand that. So I wanted to come back and say that again, because I want to get emails like, well, you said, nope. I wanted to come back and say that, but you really touched on it with this whole notion of someone. And in your book, in the 7th chapter of your book, is this whole idea, the self-love revisited chapter. It's this whole idea that it's about you, but it's not all about you. What you said? No, you have it's because you was preaching. But it's what you said. It's all about you, but it's not all.
Yeah.
It's about but it's not all about.
Yeah.
And then there's this notion of community that comes with self-love. So in the same way of having to love yourself and take care of yourself, that's that whole idea. That's someone that's waiting on you to read a book. Somebody is waiting on you to take the next step. Somebody is waiting on you to take care of yourself because they need you to care for yourself so that they can continue to walk out the best life that they have. Somebody's greatness is tied up in you loving yourself. Somebody's greatness is tied up in you saying to the world, I choose me. Somebody, everything can be tied up. And that's not to get you to feel like you are, like it's a responsibility or a weight. It is a responsibility, but it's not a weight. And it's not a weight that you care for yourself. And there's some folks in this chat, blowing it up.
Wait, let me give you, before you give me that. Go
ahead.
All right. And so this is the piece. I'm glad you did that, Joy, because I wanted to say this. On page 3 of the book, page 3, it says, through this lens of self-love, we come to understand and appreciate that love, authentic acceptance and valuing is not a license to remain stagnant, to shrink responsibilities to self and to others, or to continue to do that which is not beneficial. It also is not a license to devalue other people. Now, that's not on there. I thought that's where I was, but I'm not. So I'm just going to say it. It's also not a license to devalue other people. And so there's a place in my book where I talk about where we're increasing in self as we're growing. And that sometimes we'll hear people say things like, but that's the way I am. No, we don't have a license to be unkind. Kindness is the order of the day. Now, I'm not talking about nice, because there are times when we don't need to be nice, when the climate doesn't allow for nice. But kindness, that's a fruit of the spirit.
Nice
is always appropriate.
Nice is not a fruit of the spirit.
Nice is not a fruit of the spirit. And we'll unpack that in another video. There are times when I'm not going to be nice because the situation does not warrant nice. But I will be kind, even though I'm not nice. Now, kindness, we must be kind. If our kindness is decreasing, we're not growing in self-love. Self-love automatically means increased love for other people. That is automatically increase in love for other people if we're actually increasing in love for ourselves. Okay, comments, George?
I'm just gonna hit these comments well, some of them really quick. Kristen says, rewind and tell me that 50 years ago, please. She said, Narita says, amen, I am inspired to thrive. Thank you. Kristen says, trying to go get my daughter to watch too. She want her daughter to watch us. Then Cherie says, I love it. We have to take care of ourselves first to be fit to take care of others. And Kristen says this, and this is key. We are only first when we decide it.
That's right.
We are only first. Taking care of you is a decision. It is a choice. It should always be the first choice, but it's a choice, and you have to make the choice, because here's the thing: you can make a choice to not take care of yourself. You can make a choice to not love yourself, but who do you serve when you don't love yourself? And got some thumbs up, and just lots of other things happening in the chat too. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. All right, let's bring it on in, because we are winding down with our questions and our time. I wanted to keep us right at about an hour. So Joy, you kind of answered this. It's one of my questions, so I'm gonna go on and ask. What value would you place on the self-love journey? What value would you place on the self-love journey?
The journey to self-love in general is invaluable. It is invaluable. It is priceless. It is, it would be difficult for me to say, this is what self-love means. But what I will say, this whole idea of caring for yourself gives you the opportunity to understand not only the value of caring for yourself and loving yourself, but the value of you.
Yeah.
It speaks specifically to the value of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is so important to understand that when we're on this journey and while we're on this journey, that it's about us. It is about us. And it is about how we value ourselves and what that looks like for us, and what it looks like for us to continue to move forward.
Yeah.
So when I think about this whole idea of value, I think it is, I'll say that it is priceless to take the journey of self-love. Mm-hmm. It is priceless to take the journey of self-love, because what comes on the other side of self-love, on the other side of self-love is peace, there's joy, there is a harmony within your family, there is a harmony in your life, there's a harmony in your mind when you take the journey of self-love.
Amen.
So if I can encourage you anything today, as far as the journey of self-love, take one step and put one step in front of the other. If you don't ever get the book and read the book, Self-Love, the Gift You Give Yourself, begin to take the journey of self-love, whatever that looks like for you. But I will say that this is a good start. it is a good start.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Joy. And so before we wrap up with our last couple of questions, I want to just go back to the book. The book goes through 7 chapters, and it's self-love. I define self-love and talk about that a little bit, give some history as to how my self-love developed. Tomorrow we will be on with Ms. Tamika Bowles, who has read the book and has had life transforming experiences with it. And we will be on tomorrow, I think, at 1 o'clock. But we'll make sure we put the schedule up. And so we go through self-love, then you go through self-exploration, self-discovery, self-acceptance, forgiveness, self-appreciation, and celebration, and then self-love visited. It's 7 chapters. And self-love is not a linear process. It is a cyclical process. It's a journey. It's a life journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey. We will process through this journey of self-love all of our lives, because there's always higher heights and deeper depths in this thing called self-love, in which we can accomplish. All right, Joy. If I were to, well, let's leave that as the last one. Who do you think, and you kind of just answered this question, who do you think would benefit from the book and why?
Who do I think would benefit from the book?
The book or the self-love journey, even if it's not the book, just the self-love journey.
Who do I think will benefit from the book or the self-love journey, and why? Well, I'm going to tie that into the comment that Nyria made in the comment. She said it will cost you everything not to take the journey of self-love.
Come, sis. It costs you everything. Everything. Ooh, you don't get to become who you here to become. All right.
If you don't take the journey of self-love, it will cost you everything. So who will benefit from it? Anybody that's attached to you. Not let me just say this whole idea of the book, like anybody who can read will benefit from the book. But anybody who reads the book, anybody who's attached to you will benefit from it.
Wow.
Because it will cost you everything if you don't take the journey of self-love. It'll cost you stuff that you don't know is costing you.
That's good. It's all good. It's going to cost you what you don't know. So the potential that's there may not be activated. It may not be activated because you don't even know it's there. And going on the journey will expose you to your potential that can be activated.
Not loving yourself will cost you potential. That is huge.
Look, we need to put all 3 of those comments that we just, I
think a t-shirt to be ready tomorrow. Y'all can pre-order t-shirts. Self-love will cost you your potential. The lack of self-love will cost you your potential.
The absence of self-love. I started off by talking about
a workout shirt in that.
It's one of life's greatest tragedies. The absence of self-love is one of life's greatest tragedies. All right. Our last question says, if I were to write a sequel to Self-Love, A Gift You Give Yourself, what should it be? What should I call it?
Ooh, that's a good question. If you were to,
what should I call it?
If you were,
and that goes for the viewing audience too.
If you were to write a sequel to Self-Love,
A Gift You Give Yourself, what should I call it? What do you think? What do you think, Joy? What do you think? Sis, what do you think?
A sequel. Woo.
Tamika, what do you think? After Sherry was out there, don't know who else is out there.
So I get all these ideas. So the first thing that pops in my head is called Love Again.
Okay.
So the sequel to self-love. So like once you've established this idea of loving yourself, now you can love other people.
Yeah.
So now this book about you love yourself. So now how do you love again?
Okay.
So love again, the gift you give to others.
All right.
I'm about to do my book. I'm gonna get it afterwards.
All right. I like. I would like to make some acknowledgments about the book. So I have 2 forewords in my book. One foreword. First of all, the book is dedicated to my mom. My mom. I am who I am because of that woman, Yvonne Woods. That woman right there accepted people right where they were. She was amazing. She had this characteristic like Jesus. She would meet you right where you are every time and accept you. And I grew up, and she wasn't perfect. No mother is. And I talk about that in the book. No mother is perfect, but she was perfect for me. And through her and my grandmother and my amazing aunties and my sisters and all of my family and everybody, I got to grow up and love Kathy and love Kathy. And, you know, we had some hard times growing up, but in all that, I managed to love Kathy. And that didn't happen just by myself. It happened because I had these amazing, mostly women actually, around me that loved me well. So my book is dedicated to my mommy, to my husband, Kim, and Kim Jr., and who's my precious gift from God, and to my heart daughter, Amanda. And so those are my dedications. My first forward is by Dr. Robert McTire, and he was a writing specialist at Spring Arbor University, and he became my friend and my editor. And then my second forward is from my spiritual father, Apostle Bobby Bracy, under whose tutelage I've been under for the last 30 years. And so I am eternally grateful to him and to all of those that I just mentioned for how they poured into my life. And so I want to invite you guys to go to the website, drcatherineejames.com. We've got some products up there. You'll see my new venture is that of a transformational coach. God has given me the opportunity to go into a new venture of life and to use what he's given me to help people live their potential, help people live their potential. And I do it through joining people right where they are in places of their thinking, how we think, how we feel, and relationships. And so if I'm gifted with anything, I'm gifted to help folk live their potential and walk out places of possibility. Amen. Amen. I've got a little tickle in my throat here. All right. We wrap up. Do we got any comments we need to make before we close out here? Let me get me a drink of water.
We do have a couple of comments that I just wanted to touch on. For the comments for the name of the sequel for the book.
All right.
So sequel for the book, Self-Love on Fire.
Okay. All right.
Nyria. And
all
then
right.
Tweet T says, Enduring the Journey of Self-Love.
Amen. Amen.
So those two came through as possibilities. I went through and I was trying to look on the actual video to see if I could see whether people have commented there, but don't have to see those, but it doesn't mean that people people didn't write some other ones. So if we see some afterwards, she'll make sure that she reaches out to you. If you see that in that banner right there, that drcatherinejames.com, just so you know where to go. She already talked about that, but that leads you over there for your signed copy. So some of you should be running over there to get it signed. I got mine with my inscription. I don't know if you can see it. My inscription, and she signed it like she really, really knows you. When she signed it.
Joy Creel, I want to take this time to publicly say that I love you and I appreciate you, that you are a valuable component to my life, and I am grateful for spending just about every day with you.
I wasn't ready.
You make me better. You make me better. I love you. I so appreciate the relationship that God has allowed us to have. Who would have thunk it? Are you in the front row on your phone?
I was not in the front row on my phone. Haters gonna hate. Oh, he's gonna get through the video. Haters gonna hate. Haters.
But here we are. Here we are, walking our purpose and destiny together. I am grateful to God for you. I am grateful to God that you were the first purchaser of the book. I'm grateful to God that you are an amazing support person, that anything that I do, you're right there. You're right there to make sure that you offer the gifts that God has given given you. And so thank you for launching, for commencing, for being the first of many to come book tours. Thank you for being here.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you so much for having me. I definitely appreciate your time and your value to have me as your first guest on your book tour. So thank you so much.
Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to join us at 9/11, where we will have an encore conversation with Latasha Lyman, with Steve McNeil, Felicia McNeil, and with Sandra Dennis. Still, I rise again. All right. So, join us at 9/11.
At the moment.
Thank you for being here. I so appreciate your time. I appreciate your comments. I just appreciate you. You are tremendously valuable. You are valuable. And whether you get the book or not, please, 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 I implore you. I beseech you. I beg of you. Take the self-love journey. There are lots of ways to get there. The book is one way. There are lots of ways to get to increased self-love, to growth in your self-acceptance. Lots of ways to get there. And make a commitment to yourself. I invite you right now in this moment, to say, I will take the journey. I will take the journey. Just say it. Go ahead. Take it. I will take the journey. 4 words. I will take the journey. Make a commitment to yourself to take the self-love journey. All right. At the moment in which Abba gave us his breath, we forfeited the right to not be amazing. We don't have a right to not be amazing. You are amazing. You're amazing. You're absolutely amazing. You got to believe it. Believe it, and then walk it out. Fulfill purpose and destiny, because you know the earth is waiting on you. All right. See you guys at 9/11. Come join us. If not, thank you so much again for being with us. That's it for tonight.